Hello and welcome to High Caliber TV, your source for figure and model updates every Wednesday and Friday. So today on the Workbench, as you can see, we're talking about the security team who are protecting the Rook in the diorama, and they are the three modern Russian soldiers from Evolution Miniatures. So as you can see, we've got this guy in just today, actually. He's fresh off the press. He came in the latest shipment from Evolution, and here he is built up, just all cleaned up and then primed with Vallejo RAL 800 German green brown. The color itself doesn't really matter. I've been asked a couple of times why I use the specific colors I use with the Vallejo, and in some cases, in most cases, it doesn't matter because it's going to get coated with a base coat and then counter shaded, and then we're going to move on from there. So I just wanted to show this guy where he's at. His canine friend's all ready to go, and yeah, we'll move on from there. So where we're at with the other two is, as you can see, they're a bit darker than I intended. What happened was I went a little bit too heavy with the oil washes, or the ink washes, sorry. And then what I did was, to come back from that, I used a Citadel shade, the camo shade, which is a deep green. And that is just a translucent, very thin color that you put over everything. Or I just put it over the highlights, and it really deepens the green. And then over top of that, I've started my camouflage. And I know the camouflage on these modern Russian uniforms is supposed to look muddled, but making it look muddled and yet defined, like the box art, is significantly more challenging than it looks. And what I began doing was using the sponge technique that I used on the ACU in my last build, and that was good in some ways because it gave it that random look, but it was also not great because I don't think it was, when I did it, it wasn't as defined as I wanted it to be. So moving on from that, I just sort of decided to go onwards and upwards and started highlighting everything, so you can see the couple tones of brown in there and the deep green and then the light green for the highlights. So yeah, details are on. One detail I wanted to point out, these guys aren't supposed to be contemporary, they're supposed to be futuristic because they're standing and protecting a futuristic four-legged battle tank thing that doesn't exist. So I added the orange inner gorget collar look, which is from just basic pictures I've collected over the years from Google, concept art for futuristic infantry, things like that. I think it looks really neat, and it sort of makes them stand out a little bit more considering their uniforms are so green browny, shall we say. So moving on, his mate here has stepped out of the box completely and has a tan tunic. So I just wanted him to look a little bit different from the guy with the VSS, and this tunic is being completely hand painted. I'm not wet blending it, and I'm not dry brushing it. So what I'm doing is I've applied a few layers, and I've got some pretty much the extreme highlights and then sort of the medium shadows in there right now. You can see the tonal difference, and that was all over top of a brown ink wash, which sunk into the areas that are separating the equipment and the breaks in the colors from the tunic itself, and it's important to have those breaks. But then what's going to happen next is we're going to start adding sort of a dark sea gray and deepening up the shadows, and then gradually lightening some of the medium brown, the medium tan, and then blending that up to the highlights, and we'll see how that turns out. This is sort of a mixture of a couple of techniques, and I am not convinced as to whether or not it's working yet, but this is early days for the tunics. So yeah, weapons all on, blah blah blah. The sling attachment is sort of an interesting thing. What you can use and what I recommend you use are the foil from wine bottles, or like this one, a Scotch bottle, and this is sort of the pattern stuff, but you can get ones that are smooth, like I used for that one, and it's really thin, malleable metal, and so you can prime it with Mr. Metal Primer and then just go at it. This stuff is really fantastic, and it's garbage anyway, so you're sort of throwing it away. So you can use that to make your own slings. And then yeah, same deal. These guys are about halfway through, so let me know what you think, what your thoughts are on this. They're going to go on to the Rook. Things are going along pretty well. The Rook is still sort of in an early phase, but yeah, we'll continue on and get this crew sorted out and then move on. So yeah, thanks very much for watching. Check us out at highcaliberminiatures.com. Links in the description as always. Check us out on Facebook, Pinterest, and Twitter for daily stock updates, Workbench stuff like this. Thanks for bearing with me. I know I've been sort of sparse on the videos recently. There's been some weird internet stuff, and some things haven't been uploading, and sometimes I just don't have anything to upload because this crew was at sort of a halting pace for the past week. But yeah, thanks very much, and I will see you next time. Bye.